Hey everybody, you're now listening to Cup of Queens with Paige and Saray, and today we're so excited. We are talking with Alexis Allen, who is a registered dietitian and senior worksite wellness program specialist. Alexis talks with us about a balanced diet, foods to eat to feel your best self, and what her favorite areas are to help clients.
Alexis is full of passion for helping individual clients and corporate accounts make healthy choices. She tells us the best foods to eat for great skin, how to depuff, and overall how to have a balanced diet. We can't wait for everyone to hear this episode right before the holidays and hope this helps to kickstart your New Year's resolutions.
So grab your cup and enjoy! We got our wine because this girl's got a really long title, so
need a sip before that.
I'm so excited for this one. So Saray's really good friend, Alexis Allen, who is also a registered dietitian and senior worksite wellness program specialist, is joining us today.
Oh, thanks
so
for
cheers.
having me.
Cheers! You killed the title.
Thanks.
I know, you really did. Now say it 5 times fast.
Right, I've tried to say it twice and nothing has come out remotely correct, so
It's all right.
props to you.
It's fine.
It's fine. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background, what your day-to-day looks like, and all the things.
Yeah, well, oh gosh. So if you start from the beginning, I grew up in the South Metro area of Minneapolis in Lakeville, and then moved to Fargo for school for engineering.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Engineering. Cool.
Yeah, I went to
Okay.
school for mechanical engineering for a hot minute, and then I literally tried to say hello to someone in one of my classes, and they like turned their face and didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, okay, not the major for me. I'm done. Literally, no. I was like, I cannot live my life to people that will not speak to me. So changed my major literally just because I like food. Best decision I ever made. Hardest major ever. So finished school somewhere in there, like my sophomore year of college, started coaching at Davies, which is how I know Saray. And then after college, I did a 8-month-long full-time unpaid internship, sat for my exam, started working at Sanford. So I've been at Sanford for actually my 2-year anniversary was on Thanksgiving.
Oh, cool. Congrats.
Fun. I love that your anniversary is on like the food holiday of
Literally.
the world.
I know. So I've been working at Sanford, and then at Sanford, I work for like the clinical side, and then I also work for the health insurance side. So literally, I feel like I work five jobs on my day-to-day. It's different every single day, which I love.
Yeah.
But I work individually with patients with anywhere, it's a lot of chronic conditions like a BMI over 30. So I work with a lot of weight loss patients, like hypertension, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, which is like high cholesterol, cancer, metabolic syndrome, the list goes on. And then I work with agencies that are, so when you you work full time, you sign up for your benefits, you get health insurance. Any company on the whole eastern side of the state that has Sanford health insurance is one of my clients. So I go and we'll do worksite wellness with them. So I'll give presentations on like how to create a healthy work environment or different things like that are focused on worksite wellness, but different areas of wellness. So not just like the physical, like financial wellness, community wellness, mental wellness, social wellness, because it really all goes together, you know? So that part, I really enjoy the corporate wellness because I love working with people individually and making individual change. However, when you're working with like a company or an agency, like NDSU, for example, is one of my clients. So big group of people, UND, like, counties, cities, whatever it might be, you're able to work on like a population basis and make more like policy change or environmental change. So you can kind of make like the wellness environment on a larger scale. So that I would say is what I'm most passionate about. But I do that. I do cooking classes every other week.
Speaking of which, you brought us some killer apps.
Oh, yes.
They're so good.
So good.
Well, and I just live by myself. And I do these cooking classes every other week, and I make a ton of food. And I'm like, I can't have this at home because I'll eat all of it. So I brought it here.
I have benefit from your cooking classes often, and it's always such a treat.
Yeah. Well, and when I get stressed out, I like bake bread and whatever. So Saray always, whenever I'm stressed, she's like, too bad. Okay, where's the bread?
Bring on the bread. Let's go.
But yeah, I would say, between individual wellness, worksite wellness, I am kind of all over the board, and I work from home, which is great. So I can sit at home all day, and then in the evenings I coach dance and then do choreography. So busy all the time. But
so
it's fun.
busy.
It's fun. But that's why I love my job, is because every day is different, and I'm like here and there and everywhere. I would get so bored just sitting and doing the same thing all day. So, but that I would say is kind of like the all-encompassing from the end, or from the beginning, from the end to where we are now. That's the story.
Cool. Yeah. So, okay, you mentioned NDSU and UND. So is that like certain divisions, or, I mean, who at NDSU do you work with?
Right. So it's like all employees.
Okay.
All employees at NDSU, all employees at UND, or like we have the western side of the state. There's another gal that works on the western side, and she handles like the governor's office and like the secretary of state and all the people at the Capitol. So it's all employees, not necessarily students or anything. So like I said, I'll go give presentations on like how to build a healthy meal, or I'll go do I'll go and do like a break room assessment, and like, okay, how can you make your environment better? Because there's actually a statistic that says 70% of the choices you make at work are determined more by your employer than the actual employee. Because it's about your environment. Like, can your employer make the healthy choice, the easy choice? If you have a vending machine right next door with XYZ, or if you have like a fridge, or like the ability to go grab like fruits and vegetables throughout the day, things like that, or good access to good food in your break room or your cafeteria. Obviously, if it's there, it's going to be so much easier. So that's why you kind of have to start at the higher level. And that's why corporate wellness is so fun, because it's like, okay, we can make a policy change, and subconsciously everyone else is going to start making better choices because it's easy and it's there for them.
That's so cool.
That is such a great concept, to have everything trickle down, but still have the ability to work one-on-one. But it all matters. Like, you could work one-on-one probably with someone every day of their life, but if their environment is not set up for success, no way.
Matter. Yeah,
I love that you do that.
It's so fun. And there's actually this blue zones concept, where there's like these zones of the world where these people live super long, they're super healthy, and they do research. There's only one in the U.S.
Where?
Loma Linda, California.
Loma Linda.
Right. But these people like live long, they live happy, they live healthy, and they go and like do this research of like, why is this happening? And a lot of it does come down to like the stakeholders in the community. Do you have parks? Do you have access to good food at your grocery stores? So you kind of got to start with like, okay, get the stakeholders in the community, get them on board, make policy change, and then the community can thrive. And there was meetings in Fargo about it, just like, beginner meetings. And I got to sit in on some of them. It's really interesting to hear about like the process of, like, it's not just an individual making a choice. It's like the whole community kind of has to buy in,
Wow.
And Wine at 5 is one of their, I don't know what the word is, but Wine at 5 is one of their like policies.
If Lex approves, I will do it.
Dietitian approve. I will. Wine at 5.
Yes. I can get behind that.
Okay, so I think that's so cool, the environment aspect, but the one-on-one is where I think a lot of our listeners will be interested. Because obviously, we do have some business owners who might listen that can hopefully make some good changes, but as far as kind of the one-on-one aspect, you mentioned a couple of concerns that you work with. What would you say is kind of the number one, consistent one? And how do you help fix, heal, better that situation?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would say overall people get referrals to me expecting a weight loss program.
Yeah.
And then they show up and I'm like, no. That's not what's going to happen here. So what I do is I will visit with the patient, visit with them for an hour for the first time, all over the phone, which is great for them, great for me. We don't have to go into the clinic and, deal with waiting in lines and whatever. So we visit for an hour and we talk about nutrition, but we also talk about physical activity and, again, like financial wellness, community wellness, because it all plays in. Like your financial wellness, if you're eating out every day, your financial wellness is going to suffer. And then your mental wellness is going to suffer. So we go through all of that, and then at each visit, it's actually more patient-led, where they tell me, okay, this is what I want to work on, and then I will provide like the education, the resources, so they know why they're making the choices they're making, rather than me being like, you should do that, or you should do that, because it's like telling a toddler to not go turn the TV on.
They're gonna want to turn it on.
Yeah. So I kind of let them guide the process, and then, like I said, I'll give them the education, explain why they're making the choices they're making. So that's kind of what we go in. You know, like I said, they come in, they think weight loss, and I'm like, okay, no, slow down. We need to start at the inside rather than the outside. You know, they all want to look better, which is we all do, you know. But when you lose weight quick, you're not always truthfully making yourself healthier. And the goal is sustainable, long-term change, you know, things that you can do forever to be healthy and make sure your organs are functioning properly, which keeps your joints healthy and your, you know, bones strong for years and years to come. Because I'm usually working with, you know, middle-aged, honestly, anywhere from like 30 years old to 75 years old, anywhere in that range. But, you know, we'll focus on the inside and slow progress. And then eventually things will start to kind of fall into place in the long run. But that's kind of the process of my one-on-one visits. And we visit every week to every other week, depending on what works best for their schedule. I'm so flexible with everything. So I'm like, whatever is going to make this easy for you, you know, let's do it. And so again, we go to the small changes first. It's, can we just incorporate a vegetable at dinner every night? Or can you drink one more glass of water before your coffee in the morning? And then we kind of add up over time, which makes it so much easier, less overwhelming. They're not like, okay, I have to do this. I have to exercise 5 times a week. I have to eat all healthy meals. I have to cut out everything I love, because that's just not going to happen. It'll happen right away, but you always fall off the wagon doing that, and it's harder to get back on rather than just doing something that makes sense in your current lifestyle.
And you always, I mean, I obviously hear you talk about, we don't honestly talk about like this stuff at the time. We really don't.
No.
We go to DQ, we get chicken strips,
so true.
and we're living life like as it should be. But the one thing you always stress, which I love to hear, is you focus a lot on adding and not subtracting.
Yes.
Because people, I mean, when you think of like a healthy lifestyle, that is kind of what I think people have been kind of conditioned to think is, oh, I can't eat my bagel in the morning, or I can't, you know, have this chocolate bar, and you never focus on that.
I literally have Bagel Friday.
Bagel Friday. That's literally why I thought
Well, and what happens when you think of cutting something out, there's a couple things that happen is, first of all, if you cut out, let's use bagels as an example, because who doesn't love bagel? But when you cut it out, you quite literally go through the grieving process as if you were to like lose someone that you love. When you cut something out. Yeah, it's really interesting. And then what also happens is when you eat a bagel or whatever it is, a chocolate bar, could be anything. At something that you love, you get a shot of dopamine to your brain, so that makes you feel good. You eat a bagel, you feel good. Like 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah. When you remove that, the bagel is now like a higher reward value in your brain. So you're like, okay, I don't get this, so you want it more. So then when you have it again, you get an even bigger shot of dopamine, and then you eat 5 bagels all at once. So
That's so crazy.
Yeah. By allowing yourself to have, like, I always use cheesecake as an example with my patients because I love cheesecake. So if you allow yourself to have a slice of cheesecake every once in a while, you're going to be fine. But if you try to cut it out and say, oh, I can't have cheesecake, and then you have cheesecake at your family Christmas, you're going to eat the whole thing, or you're going to have multiple slices, which leads to the like restrict binge cycle rather than just allowing yourself to like simply enjoy life and think about adding in nutrients than trying to take away nutrients.
Well, I've always heard too, like people that are dieting really hard and they don't eat, and then when they get the opportunity to eat, they just like eat everything in sight because their body is so deprived, you know? And you're like starved. But that's interesting. Okay, so real quick, you mentioned something about drinking water before your coffee.
Yes.
So I naturally am so curious. How much water should you drink before your first cup of coffee?
That's a good question. And I had to force myself to do this because I am a coffee drinker avidly. And if I start with coffee, like, good luck on the water. I just drink like a glass of water before. It could be anything. I try to drink this whole Yeti, but it literally could be a glass of water simply. And then you will probably end up drinking more water throughout the day naturally, rather than just, especially when it gets cold here. It's like all you want is something warm to hold. And so if you start with water, you at least have like given yourself something. And then if you like alternate between water and coffee, you're probably going to have plenty of water throughout the day.
Smart. That's smart.
And you just how long have you done that? You like had to force yourself to do this water thing.
It is like been my New Year's resolution for the last 5 years.
Yeah. you really try. You stick to it.
I really do. And now it's a habit for me. I mean, I do it every single day now, and I drink so much water every single day now. Like, if I don't have my water, I feel it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel it. But yeah, it took a lot of perseverance.
A lot of strength.
I think of like when we had, 5 a.m. morning practices, I'm like, I just want my coffee so bad. I'm like, no.
But you would chug that water.
Gotta hydrate first.
Oh, I love that.
But it's, I mean, everybody says it. Anytime you hear about health or fitness, it's all about balance and like having that balance. So, thinking of that, I know there's not a perfect, formula for everybody. Everyone's body is super different. But what does a healthy, balanced diet look like? If you could, if you had to give a plan to the United States of America, right? What would that be?
Oh, well, first of all, everyone would get their own individual plan.
Yeah.
Because everyone is so individual and there's so many factors of like, even like your stress can affect your diet. But it is so much more simple than people think. Like, quite literally, you need to focus on water intake. Fruits and vegetables, they don't even need to be fresh. They can be frozen. They could be canned. It doesn't matter. Lean proteins, turkey, chicken, fish, really great. Whole grains, people think carbs are the enemy. Carbs are so important. It's just knowing the correct ones. So having whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, choosing a whole grain toast instead of white toast. There's so many health benefits there. Olive oil is actually got so much research behind it. There's a Mediterranean like style of eating, and that's kind of what it comes down to is fruits, vegetables, multiple waters. Lean protein, olive oil, and this, Mediterranean style of eating is not a diet. It's quite literally just a style of eating that dates way back to like ancient Greece, and they live very healthy lives. But interestingly enough, there's some people in town that just did a project and wrote a book on the Midwest Mediterranean diet.
Oh.
So they took the Mediterranean diet and talked about it using foods that we have access to locally in the Midwest, because we're a steak and potatoes, kind of corn,
butter,
kind of country, butter, but focusing on those types of things, and then still allowing yourself to live life, have the things you enjoy, because that, again, wellness is not just nutrition, it's your mental health and being able to just enjoy things and not feel restricted. But I could say it till I'm blue in the face, but like fruits, vegetables, water, lean protein, healthy fats.
Which you do say it blue in the face, because I always end up with you where somebody will ask, when you say what you do, they'll ask that question, and you do say that, but don't you feel like sometimes it's just like people don't want to hear it, so they're just that can't be true, that can't be all there is.
It's so much more simple than people think, and that people do think they have to cut things out, but then you're, say you cut out carbs, keto, whatever, then you're totally gypping yourself on energy, a lot of like B vitamins, fiber, all very important for digestion. So it's like you can't cut these things out, but people don't want to hear it. People like want a quick fix, and people don't want to think it's so simple, but it's like, just, keep it simple, stupid. Like, that's all it really is.
Keep it simple,
that's
stupid.
That's what happens too, and people have so much, such a hard time like with weight loss or whatever. Typically it's because they develop a poor relationship with food from dieting, then not dieting, then dieting, then not dieting, rather than just focusing on the foundation.
Yeah.
So, okay, speaking of which, like dieting, not dieting, are there any, well, I know there's a ton of different fad diets, and it seems like whether you are reading an article or magazine, they talk about that. So, what are different ways to encourage individuals to proceed in those diets in a healthy manner?
Well, to not. To not do them. And that happens all the time. I'll have patients be like, I want to do this or that. However, I'll just like pause for a second. There are situations where diets like that might be medically necessary. For example, this is a kind of one-off example, or not one-off, but very rare. Keto is prescribed to children with epilepsy. So children that have seizures, because carbohydrates feed the brain. So when you get, carbohydrates break down to sugar, through and through, that's what they break down to, which is good. But that feeds the seizures. So that's what the keto diet was actually originally made for.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like that's an example. Or, people with, chronic kidney condition, or chronic kidney disease, people with diabetes, they medically will need a specific diet. And that is where you should get your information from a dietitian and not from Susie Q on Instagram
or YouTube, whatever you're looking at.
Go to the people that spent years and years studying, going into depth on, nutrition for disease. But as far as fad diets go, I always tell people just don't. Yeah. Just take it step by step. But I usually will use like a plate diagram, and instead of having to like measure out your macros or count your calories or whatever it might be, I'm like, okay, half your plate should be fruits and vegetables. 1/4 should be some sort of protein. 1/4 should be some sort of whole grain with maybe a healthy fat throughout, whether that's your salad dressing or butter on your dinner roll. Quite honestly, it could be anything. And if you just look at your plate and break it down into like a half and a quarter and a quarter, that's all it takes to kind of balance everything out in relation to each other. Because it's not just about carbohydrates or just about protein or just about fruits and vegetables. They all have to be in proportion to each other. So if you take a plate and divide it out, so much easier than having to get your measuring cup out or your food scale, because no one wants to carry that around in their purse.
Literally a waste. I shouldn't say a waste of time, but like, who has time for that? I mean, seriously.
People make time, but
my God.
I just could never manage.
I could never do that. It's such
a,
like, I think of having to open up an app and type in every single thing I eat, and I eat a lot during the day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I eat so much. I'm like, no.
But I think that's when people become obsessed.
Yes.
Because when you're doing stuff like that, it's almost like obsessive. I don't know.
It does.
And maybe that's wrong of me to say. But
it probably depends on the person.
Yes.
Which, like, some people, maybe that's... Because I will say, which this is not a good thing, but I know in high school, like, especially your senior, you're starting to kind of, like... Your body starts to grow a little bit more than you can't eat a bag of chips and not see it.
Yeah.
And I remember I would use that MyFitnessPal app. Did you guys ever use that?
Yeah.
Like, I think every high schooler or like young girl goes through a stage where they use that app, and definitely became like obsessed, but I almost became more interested in just like, oh, I had no idea that actually had that many calories, or this had that many carbs, or this had that many sugars. And one thing, it did help me a little bit more aware of like what's in food.
Cool.
But on the flip side, I could see where that app would be super destructive to somebody, and focusing on like, I can't believe I ate that,
and then being really hard on
it's such a like, I don't know, it's a fine line to dance around.
Well, and I have such a great tip for anyone that does feel like that, because tracking can be such a useful educational tool.
Yeah.
And MyFitnessPal, I don't always recommend it. It's fine, but I think they kind of skew some of the numbers.
Do they?
To not be like truthful. But there is a really good, you can use it on an app or a website called Chronometer, and it will literally break down. I mean, I'm telling you, it will tell you how much like alcohol is in this wine. It will, when you go to protein, it will tell you how much of every single amino acid is in it. Like, it will break it down.
That's cool.
It's super cool. Yeah. But when I tell people to track as an educational tool, I'd say don't do it every day.
Yeah.
Because what happens, like, let's be realistic, you start every day really well, and then you get to dinner and you're like, screw it.
I'm just gonna eat.
No. Yeah. So I tell people, pick like 1 day a week or 2 days a week and track the whole day beginning to end, rather than trying to do every day just the beginning of the day. So it's like, even if it's 1 day a week and you do beginning to end average it out over the couple weeks, like you're gonna get a pretty good idea of where you're at, and then it's way less stressful because it's just one day. One day a week, 2 days a week, but every person is so different where if you get obsessed, it can lead to disordered eating habits, which is a whole separate thing to try to steer as clear, you know, stay away from it if you can, but it's so hard. It's such a mental cycle because food is not just food, it's cultural, it's social, it's like, you know, economic. There's so many factors to just food. So you kind of have to know yourself of, is this going to be helpful and educational for me, or is it going to be harmful? And then you have to kind of learn where to draw the line in the sand. But I would say doing it like 1 day or 2 days for a full day, you know, each week gives you a good idea of, okay, I'm getting this much protein a day. This is where I need to make changes. It's helpful for me as like a practitioner.
Yeah.
I get that information from my patients. I'm like, okay, we can make tweaks here. And then the goal is to eventually not have to do that anymore.
Right. Then you kind of have an idea of, okay, I remember seeing this. This was, you know, had really great nutritional value the last time I put it in.
So what about intermittent fasting? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh.
Because I've heard both sides. Like I've heard some people have a really great experience and it works really well, and then other people, I don't know. I'm just curious.
Oh my gosh. So that's a tough one because, again, every person is so different. And if you ask any dietitian any question ever, they're always going to say, it depends.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is like the answer. It depends. But there is research supporting both sides. I always tell people, though, to listen to your hunger fullness cues. So if you wake up and you eat breakfast every day, there's no reason to stop that. So if you start feeling like, if you're doing intermittent fasting and you decide, okay, I normally eat breakfast at 7, but I'm going to try to, you know, not eat till 11. If your body is physically like, if your stomach is grumbling or you get headaches or you're like not focused, that's your body telling you, okay, I need some energy. So if that's something you experience, probably not the best way to go about it. Some people do have success with it, and sometimes, not all of the times, it's because they're just, since they're eating in a smaller window, they're just eating less calories, which is not always a good thing. And I could like go into the science all about that too, but basically your metabolism is like a bonfire. So you like start your bonfire by putting your logs on, your kindling, you know, and throwing a match and maybe some lighter fluid in it, because that's, I don't know how to build a fire, so I'm throwing lighter fluid on that thing. But that's like your breakfast. So like what you put into the fire is your food. The flame is like how much your metabolism is burning, right? So you start your fire and then it dwindles down over time if you don't put anything on it. So you just like have coals. So your metabolism is not burning as efficiently. Add more logs to the fire, it's going to go up in flames again. So by having consistent meals throughout the day, you keep your metabolism moving efficiently, where if you kind of starve it, it's going to want to hang on to everything and go into basically survival mode of how, you know, when am I going to get the next meal? So that's kind of how I explain things to people as far as having frequent meals throughout the day. When they think it's a bad thing, I'm like, no, that's helping you. It's making your metabolism work more efficiently, putting things where they need to go. And if you eat less, your energy needs, your body will adapt. Your body will be like, okay, if you're only going to give me 1,200 calories a day, which, by the way, is the caloric need of a toddler.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite literally. Yeah. Wow. So if your body needs 1,300 calories, which is pretty standard, 1,300 to 1,400 calories for like a female our age, height, you know, whatever, to just like sit still and pump our blood and make sure our brain can function, maybe 1,400 calories. If you feed it 1,200, your body is going to be like, okay, I'm only getting 1,200, so I'm going to learn how to function off of 1,200.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you come off that 1,200 diet, anything now is extra.
Okay.
So the more you eat, the more your metabolism works. The less you eat, it slows it down because it's going to adapt. And then eventually you're going to get sick of eating 1,200 calories a day and you're going to eat more. Well, that's now extra that your body's going to hang on to.
Because it's not used to getting it.
Literally.
Right.
Wow.
Goes into survival mode. That's what our bodies do, is they are built to like survive and they'll adapt.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Tyler and I were literally just talking about this today, and I was like, well, the great news is Lex is coming on the podcast tonight, so I can ask her. Because we were talking about calorie intake, and he said something along the lines of, and I'll probably get it wrong, but he was like, well, I think if you, like, no matter what you eat, if you're eating the same amount of calories, it is the same. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of feel like if you eat the same amount of calories, but it's better food, it's different. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
So what, because I do think there's a lot of people, I used to be this way too, where I would focus on calorie and then like kind of stopped doing that and focused more on what is it that I'm eating besides the calories. So how can people kind of navigate those two scenarios, and what should you be putting a little bit more weight towards?
Not calories.
Yes.
Quite honestly. And that is where like going to a dietitian is so helpful. And I know that not everyone has great access to it, but if you can, very helpful. But calories, yes, matter, but what's more important is the nutrient value. So, you know, if you're eating fast food all day, you're completely cutting yourself short on all the vitamins and minerals that you get from produce, or like the electrolytes from, you know, cherries have a lot of electrolytes randomly, but you're cutting yourself so short on the nutrients, and the nutrients, and this is where you like should go to a dietitian, because you know, we go and we learn about exactly what functions they have in the body and how they work. So these nutrients make your organs function properly. They make sure your muscles can, you know, maintain, bones can stay strong, joints can stay healthy. And by just focusing on calories, you're kind of cutting yourself short on, maybe you're getting a lot of protein, which is great, but you're missing out on, you know, a lot of vitamin A, D, E, K, whatever it might be. So it is kind of a balance. Like, you don't want to be going totally overboard or totally underboard on the calories, but I would say focus on the quality rather than the quantity. Because, you know, I eat all the time.
You're a snacker to the max.
I'm a snacker. I like my meals. I like my snacks.
Your snacks are good snacks. Like, you're carrying a bag of berries, celery. Like, you always have peppers. Like,
I know.
You're eating almost every time I see you, but you're eating good things. Yeah.
So, okay, speaking of like eating all the time, the holidays are coming up. That's what they're for. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so that's a really hard time to stay on track. And I feel like if you are dieting, you're tempted by all the desserts and all the different things, and you want to be able to enjoy it and not feel stressed out. But I mean, what would be your advice for somebody to continue to stay on track around the holidays?
Yeah, and I would say that's actually, I feel like 9 out of 10 of the conversations I'm having with my patients every day right now, because Christmas is next week. We had Thanksgiving, you know, the New Year is coming up, and people just get so afraid of food. And it's like, gosh, that is such a bummer. But the biggest thing I tell people is, one meal, first of all, is not going to make a difference. So just enjoy your family, enjoy your time. If there's something you want to eat, eat it. But that's where the addition rather than subtraction comes into play. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to, I'll use my dinner, for example. I had breakfast pizza before I came here for dinner, but I added a salad.
So it's fine.
So if you're thinking of adding things, literally. So if you're thinking of adding things in of like, okay, I'm going to have, again, back to the cheesecake. I'm going to have a slice of cheesecake, but I'm going to add fresh berries to it.
Oh, this is a great
You know what I mean?
That's a good hack.
Or if your family does like a family style buffet, go to the vegetables first, like grab the salad first, grab the sweet potatoes first, or, you know, the green bean casserole has lots of other things in it, but, you know, go to the vegetables first and fill your plate up with that, and then add the other things on. So it's that mindset of have what you want to have, but add in something with high nutritional value, because then you're still getting the nutrients in. You know, you're still getting your bang for your buck, and then you're also enjoying the foods you want to enjoy at the same time. So
that's a great idea. Go to the healthy section first. And then do your other stuff.
Yeah,
and then healthy afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you
so
still get
good.
what you want, but there's just
Totally.
less room on your plate, so your portion is just more reasonable.
And one thing that I've always heard from, well, I've heard it definitely from you and like other, you know, Instagram, you know, because you just stumble upon.
You can't even.
get away from them. But I always heard like people say like, you know, once you start eating healthy, you'll start to crave it. You've said that to me. I think plenty of times, and I'm just like, there's no way. Like, I never liked salads, and I made it my goal this year, 1 month, that I was gonna have 5 salads a week. And I've told you, I think multiple times now, that I'm like, I crave salads now, and it's beyond me. I've never liked them. I've never had interest in them. But I do think once you start adding in those things, your body will start to feel good, and then you'll start to connect this good feeling with that.
Right.
And you do start to kind of crave those things. I eat way more berries ever since I met you.
Oh my gosh, I probably
do.
have a carton of blackberries everywhere. I have an apple in my purse right now.
As you should. But you feel good after eating them. You really do.
Yeah, and that's where also addition becomes more of a positive experience, not like, oh my gosh, I can't have what I want to have. And then people almost resent the process of like making your body healthy, because nutrition and even physical activity or anything you do is not necessarily something extra that you're adding on. It's just what makes your body function the way it should and the way that you'll feel really well. So if you're focusing on adding, first of all, you're probably having more fun because you're like, oh, I'm getting to add more to my diet, rather than resenting the fact that you can't have what you don't want to have. And that's why people think dietitians are food police. Because they think we're gonna tell you can't have this, and that. But I'm always telling my patients to eat more, to add more of the positives. Even with like water and pop, people, if they drink pop all day, I'm like, well, just add some water in. And then eventually over time, it does balance out. Eventually they'll start to drink less pop, but then you're thinking about it in a more positive way of, oh, I'm drinking more water, not I can't have pop.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. What about people who maybe just aren't very interested in creating like meals? They have a lot of different things out there, like HelloFresh or frozen store-bought meals. Like, what are good hacks for the non-cookers out there?
That I can also actually personally relate to that. I love to cook, but since I live by myself, I am 100% about convenience. I'm busy. I'm 100% about convenience in that respect as well. Those meal preparation boxes are a great option, because then you just get what you need for that meal, you know, rather than having to buy all the ingredients and have extras that are just going to get thrown away. But even if you have just a little bit of time, I think of like half prep is what I don't do like a full prep or anything like that. I buy my chicken, for example, and I'll just throw that in the oven on, you know, broil 8 minutes each side, have that ready to go, and I'll get like mixed salad bags.
Yeah.
Have that, you know. So there's so many ways to do convenient nutrition where you don't have to cook, because it can be a pain, you know, trying to switch it up every day. But if you cook your chicken and it's like, okay, I'm gonna have a mixed salad, which, I mean, you just cut the bag open and throw all the ingredients together and you're good to go.
There's no excuse there.
But then you could add it to like a whole grain pasta or a chickpea pasta another night with like a tomato sauce. You know, there's so many simple ways to go about it, but those meal prep boxes can literally take loads of work off of people. That can be so helpful. And HelloFresh is a good one. I think Blue Apron is another one.
Ooh, I haven't heard of that one.
I think it's similar to HelloFresh.
Okay.
I went to Target the other day and there were these like bags that I bought, and you can buy, like I bought like a 15-minute one, and it literally gives you all of the ingredients to just like heat up and go. Like I did like a burrito bowl, and it gave me the chicken. I just had to heat up for like 2 minutes.
Cool.
The rice, it gave me a whole tub of guac and a whole bag of cheese. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was like $15 and it served 3 people, which is like 3 meals for me, you know? So there's things like locally, even at Target, they do these meal prep boxes where it might be like a meal for 2, but it's all locally sourced ingredients, and it's just stuff you literally have to like heat up.
That is amazing.
That is so good.
There's a lot of convenient ways, you know, and it's more expensive to get like pre-chopped, you know, fruit or whatever. But I mean, if you're that busy and that's what it takes to make your life easier, that's what it takes. Or get like the frozen vegetables that are so easy, you know, to grab.
I always like the steamers.
Yeah.
They just like throw in the microwave, like the green beans or the brown rice.
There's
so easy.
Bird's Eye, which is like the steamer brand that everyone uses. They make like protein packs that have like lentil, like there's a Southwest one that I like where it's like lentils, black beans, red peppers, like all, it's like a high protein blend.
Ooh, yeah.
And I will literally throw that in the microwave, heat up chicken. You could go buy a rotisserie chicken. Like it could be literally so simple. And you just like heat up this protein pack, throw your chicken in.
Good to go.
It's a fully balanced meal. Super filling.
Okay, I think I need to stop sending Landon to the grocery store and go myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining by any means, but Landon loves to cook. And, you know, he's a guy. Like, I think
throw on the butter.
Yes.
Throw on, like, everything.
And so I think that, especially, like, prepping for a wedding, we need to start eating separately. Not saying that.
Yeah. You just gotta, like, hide the vegetables in, like, when he's not looking. Like, throw things in where... Yeah, but that can seriously be a challenge too. I work with a lot of females and they're like, well, my husband won't eat anything green to save his life and it sucks to cook multiple meals.
Yeah.
I mean, who has time for that? It's a lot of work. So if you can find like little things where, you know, I don't know, I love mushrooms, but I know a lot of people don't, but like add mushrooms into your tomato sauce when you're making spaghetti or little things like that. But, yeah, I know that's tough with like kids even.
Mm-hmm.
Kids.
Oh, so true.
I didn't even think of that.
Child nutrition is tough. And that's something, I have a colleague who dives so deep into that, and bless her soul for that. Because it is hard to be like a mom or even a dad or whoever trying to cook meals for like 4 separate people. So if you can find something that everybody loves, there's so many options out there.
Yeah.
So, okay, give us your, like, 1 week. Like, what do you eat in a week? I'm so curious.
Yeah. Well, I'm so routine. So, and again, I cook for me. So I will tell you, every single morning I have an English muffin with peanut butter and a whole carton of blackberries.
Every morning.
Yeah, and I think that's just like a weird thing that I do. That's not, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. But I eat my English muffin with my, you know, almond butter or peanut butter or whatever, and then my blackberries. I'll usually have a snack before lunch, whether it's like pita bread and hummus or, I don't know, it could be anything, cheese and crackers. I always have those pre-mixed salad bags with chicken for lunch, and I'll add like the works to my salad. So I always add goat cheese. I love goat cheese. So I'll add like goat cheese to that. I might add, you know, avocado or whatever it might be. So I always have that. And I feel like I always eat chicken salads for lunch so much. So I always try to make sure I get some sort of like carbohydrate in my snacks. So I'm getting good energy throughout the day. Or I'll have something alongside, you know, that salad. That's a carbohydrate. Dinner could be literally anything. Usually it's a chicken salad, again, because I'm so routine. But I love to make chickpea pasta.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yum.
And it is like a higher protein, a little bit lower in carb, super high in fiber, and it takes half the time to cook. And I'll add like chicken and marinara sauce to that.
And those are the chickpea noodles, right?
Yeah. And they come in like penne, spaghetti.
It's so good.
Ooh.
The twisty rotini or whatever.
Is it the Banza? Is that what the brand is?
Yes.
Banza brand chickpea pasta. You literally will never know you're not eating regular, like,
pasta.
Yeah. You cannot tell.
Wait, so is it like in a box that you buy?
Yes.
It's in the pasta aisle.
Okay, I'm gonna buy that.
It is
tomorrow.
in a bright orange box. Like, you will never miss it in the pasta
We
aisle
will
ever
post
again.
it. Yes. We will post it
It's
because
so
it's
Do you buy it, Sri?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, that's all we get now. And Tyler does not normally, like, anytime I buy, like, healthy, you know, replacements, he's not always super keen on it. And he loves these garbanzo bean. Is that what it is?
Chickpeas.
Chickpeas. Same thing. Same thing.
Chickpea pasta. He loves them.
Oh, that is like the one thing I can get anyone's husband to eat.
Yes.
Is chickpea pasta.
Yeah.
Okay, buying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going off of that, because I think this would be very interesting, is healthy alternatives. Because I do think that's like
great.
a hard thing to navigate, because there's so many options that it's almost overwhelming, and then you just are like, screw it, I'm just gonna do what I know.
Yeah.
So what are some of like your favorite healthier alternatives?
That is number one.
For sure.
The chickpea pasta, I
Supreme.
swear by it. It is like the platinum of healthy alternatives. Gosh, and that's kind of hard because when you think of like healthy alternatives, I think of like yogurt. You want to get like the low fat option.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the low fat option, it's usually higher in added sugar because it tastes good. So I usually, this is going to sound like crazy, but I usually don't go for a swap.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have your full fat dressing, just have your full fat dressing and then cook with olive oil instead of butter at dinner. You know what I mean? And actually that's a good one. Trying to cook with more like oils or unsaturated fats rather than butter, you know, when you're cooking your proteins or things like that. A really easy healthy swap, ground turkey for ground beef.
Oh, so easy.
So
and
easy.
If you season it, you can't even tell.
Seasoning. Oh my gosh, I could go on about this. Choosing a seasoning with low sodium is huge. Just because sodium, first of all, increases your blood pressure, which increases your risk for cardiovascular heart disease, which is like the number one reason that people die. So like salt is kind of a silent, I know, it's kind of crazy.
Also, it makes your face puffy, which is why I'm like, do not put salt in my eggs.
I know. But Spiceology is my favorite freaking spice brand ever because it comes pre-mixed. Like I have like a Hawaiian teriyaki one, a chili margarita one, because I'm too lazy to mix my own spices. But they have a salt-free line. And they have all these great spice blends with no salt in them. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, you can get it at Mint and Basil.
Ooh,
they have a site.
Shop local.
Yeah.
I know.
I wish I would have known that before. Like, well, Christmas is still a week away.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I
idea.
am going to be making these.
Same.
Okay, we should talk about your cooking class.
Yes.
Because we barely touched on it because we were so jacked about these apps that we just skimmed by it.
So good.
But you do have some really good recipes.
So I do for work every other week or every third week. I do this cooking class. And I quite literally just film it in my own kitchen, which is why I like pawn off this food because I'm like, I need someone to eat it. And so we break it down to like appetizers, entrees, desserts, because desserts are a very important part of a balanced diet.
Yeah.
We'll even do like beverages sometime. But tonight I made these prosciutto wrapped pears. So good.
They're amazing.
I wish everyone could taste them because the like description of it does not do it justice. It is so excellent.
Yeah,
everything.
It's literally just like pears, arugula with salt and, well, I didn't add salt, but pepper and olive oil and balsamic vinegar, pomegranate seeds, prosciutto. And you just wrap it up like a sushi roll.
And brie cheese, right?
And brie cheese.
Yeah, that's
Can't forget
the best
about
part.
the cheese.
Yum. I'm making this for Christmas.
I'm serious. It took me maybe 10 minutes. So easy to wrap it all up. And like you bring it to your family gathering, and you're literally getting like a serving of fruit.
Yeah.
You're getting greens. You're getting pomegranate seeds, which is full of antioxidants. Like
What could be
you
better?
literally can't go wrong, and it is
could be
like
better?
charcuterie. It's like a little charcuterie bundle.
Charcuterie sushi is what you
Yeah,
call it
yeah.
earlier. And
Charcuterie sushi.
It does look like that.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite recipe that you've done for that?
Hands down, I did a white chicken chili.
Yum.
It's like probably one of the second recipes I ever did, and we've been doing this for a while now, and that is my absolute favorite. And it's, when you break it down, it is like a high fiber, low sodium, high protein meal, and it is so like cozy and warm and tasty. And I add cream cheese to it.
Yeah.
So you still get, and I just add like a low fat cream cheese, healthy swap.
Yeah.
Low fat cream cheese, and it is so good.
We
freaking
are
good.
posting that recipe.
We are
as well.
posting.
Yeah.
You'll have to
For
give us
sure.
a couple that we'll post.
Yeah,
but-
I can send you a few. I've done, for the last like 2 years, I've been doing this every other week, so I've got
You got a couple.
a handful.
Up your sleeve.
Yeah.
So other than your cooking class, are there any like social media accounts or different magazines, whatever that may be, or books that you read up on or would recommend for people for recipes?
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah. My favorite website to recommend is eatingwell.com, and it is literally like a Pinterest of healthy recipes.
Amazing.
Thousands of
Yum.
recipes, all by like dietitians. There's a search function, and you can go in like a healthy eating tab, and there's like breakfast, lunch, holiday recipes, dessert recipe. There's like 20 different options. So that one is probably my favorite place to find recipes. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously the Facebook group that we have.
Did anyone join
my
that?
recipes? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really for anyone. Like, we post our recipes, we post these cooking classes, like exercises.
Cool.
You know, I recommend it to all of the patients that I work with.
Yeah.
So, like, our Facebook group, that Midwest Mediterranean book has like 15 recipes in it. Focus on, you know, Mediterranean style recipes that are made with local ingredients. And actually one of the gals is a dietitian in Fargo who wrote some of the recipes. So
That's cool.
That's so cool.
Today's Dietitian has a lot of really good resources that you can kind of read up on. That's very like evidence-based, research-based. Actually, I found an article on there today that was like a whole article about TikTok trend nutrition.
Oh.
And I'm so sorry to tell you, Saray, that
Oh no.
they bashed chlorophyll water so hard.
Why? Okay, to give everyone some context, I'm such a sucker. I'm such a sucker for like a trend or whatever. But my latest one was chlorophyll because I heard it was supposed to be really good for like improving your skin, and I heard it even makes your sweat not smell and like all these great things. Okay, break it to me.
I'm so sorry. There is just literally like, I don't want to say zero because that's like a very absolute number, but close to zero research of any benefits behind it. And I read this art, like I clicked on TikTok trends because I thought it'd be so interesting. And it was like chlorophyll water, and I was like, oh god.
Oh gosh.
Wait, okay, I haven't seen this. What is it?
It's literally it's on my counter right there.
So that little brown deal?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a dropper. It's like a little dropper, and it's green chlorophyll, like what makes plants green.
Yeah.
People say that if you put chlorophyll drops, like 10 drops of chlorophyll in your water, it's great for your skin and all these things.
But it's not. Well, okay,
There's not a lot of
that's
research,
not,
but here's the deal: is like if you're doing that and people say it's great for your skin, it's quite literally probably because you're just drinking more water.
Which
That's not a
is
bad thing.
1000% something I could buy into.
Yeah, I know. I've always been like, sorry, just eat a freaking vegetable.
I know. I'm like,
Oh, buddy, remember when you used to celery juice?
I juiced. That was my other thing that Lex was like, okay, here we go.
Like,
Buckle
well,
up.
as long as you're drinking more water, you are such a Kool-Aid drinker.
Saray's on another bandwagon. Let's hear it.
I love it.
I think it's so
funny.
fun though. I'm like, okay, give it to me.
Yeah,
give
I
it
know.
to me. Because I'm like, if you're into it, I bet a lot of other people are.
I always consult you on the matter, but
Yeah.
I oftentimes am like, I'm gonna just approach it and see what happens.
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well this segues very great into our game. We want you to tell us what are some things that our listeners can eat, consume, whatever health matter it might be to become their best self, given their specific needs. So we're going to give you a need, and we want you to give us kind of the prescription. I was going to say subscription.
You know, whatever.
Either
It's
one.
fun though.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. You, by the way, have amazing bright skin. So tell us our secret. What are you doing?
This is so funny too because I suck at skincare.
I know. It kills me.
It makes me so pissed.
And
so pissed.
I have like listened to all of these podcasts, and I know that makeup remover wipes are the worst. I use them.
Yes.
I literally use those in like moisturizer. But for bright skin, truthfully, like vitamin C you can use topically on your skin, but having vitamin C in your diet can also be very helpful for bright skin, making sure you have an adequate amount of protein in your diet. Super good for the skin.
Okay, vitamin C, I think of like oranges, like what else? Like that's literally all I think
Same.
of.
Oh my gosh, oranges, apples. Apples are actually higher in vitamin C than oranges are.
Stop it.
Weird.
Yeah,
Really?
you would never expect that.
Wow.
No.
But even like kale, spinach, pretty much most fruits have a lot of vitamin C in them. But there are some like dark leafy greens. I know I said kale and spinach. If you're into like the collard greens, if someone from the South is listening, vitamin C in that.
Okay, vitamin
Perfect.
C, protein, love it.
Okay, so eyesight.
Oh, yes. Vitamin A, which is in basically anything orange. So you think of like carrots, you know, everyone hears carrots, but it could be like mangoes, cantaloupe.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Anything orange.
So yes, so the colors of your like fruits and vegetables are because of things like that. So like vitamin A, like that orange color is a carotenoid.
Okay.
So that is good for like eyesight, high in vitamin A, versus like if you have like cabbage or blueberries or blackberries that are like purple or blue, they're higher in antioxidants.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Cool.
that is like actually what makes the color what it is the nutrient content of it. But yeah, anything orange basically as far as, you know, fruits and vegetables go. Sweet potatoes, super high in vitamin A, way higher than carrots.
Wow, I did not know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just like I know.
See, and that's why like it is so simple when it's like you're like, okay, eat orange, see it good.
But that's like an easy thing that you can sub for mashed potatoes is a sweet potato.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, sorry not to like deter us, but okay, you can take supplements. So, like, I always take vitamin D in the morning just because I feel like, well, it's always dark here in the winter, you know, so I naturally take it for that, like a little boost. But can you not eat as many fruits and vegetables if you're going to take a supplement? And I'm truly just wondering.
Well, no, that's actually a good question because supplements are all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So as far as like just your basic like vitamin D, vitamin, you know, C, calcium, whatever, if it's not vitamin A, D, E, or K, which yours is vitamin D, you're fine with vitamin D because we do not get that here. But you just pee everything else out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And like vitamin A, D, E, and K, specifically, I bring those up. They're fat-soluble vitamins. So if you are taking those vitamins and you're not having some sort of healthy fat, you're not even absorbing them.
Okay, I'm gonna derail us again because I'm sorry. This is something that I think our listeners will very much need to hear because I was bamboozled when you told me that. I was like, "What are you telling me?" Collagen. So I got on the bandwagon of collagen powder because everyone's telling me how great it is for your skin until you talked to me about this.
Okay, and so I've been doing a lot of research
you didn't
on
tell
it.
me this.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
gonna- let's tell the people.
Everyone takes collagen these days, let's be real, and that's not even bad. Collagen, there is now more research coming out that there's a lot of benefits to it, but you literally will not absorb the most of it if you're not taking it with vitamin C. So if you take your collagen and like don't eat an apple with it or have a collagen that has vitamin C fortified, it's just going straight through your system. You're not even using it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
No. So with your vitamin D, you should take it with calcium because those two like work together as well. Or just make sure you're like drinking.
But you eat
milk.
a cheese stick.
Yeah, I
Like
eat cheese
every
sticks.
morning. So there you go.
So you're good. Yeah. There you go.
But you eat cheese stick. That's so funny.
Okay.
Interesting.
Back to
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, you're up.
Great information. Okay. How to debloat
Water.
water.
So much water. And honestly, limiting your salt intake.
Yeah.
Salt will make you, well, personally, since I don't eat a lot of salt, if I like eat a pizza and when I eat a pizza, I sit down and eat a whole pizza, I blow up like a freaking balloon.
Yeah.
So making sure you have water will help just make sure your fluid and electrolyte balance stays equal.
And that would be like the same for depuffing too. Like
Yeah.
you're bloating like in your stomach and like in your face. Like is it all interconnected?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, like salt is an electrolyte. And so it's either like in your cell or in your bloodstream. And so you have to have that like balance of not having too much salt in your blood. You kind of want some of it to go into the cell because your cell uses it and water helps that whole process happen. So trying to limit your salt, not too much to a point where you're not having any because you do need it. And then just having enough water will over time help you debloat so much.
Okay.
Simple.
Debloat, depuff, water.
Yeah.
What about hair growth?
Hair growth. So biotin is actually very beneficial. But biotin is also a B vitamin.
Okay.
So it's like vitamin B7. There's like a bunch of B vitamins, you know, 1, 2, 3, all the way through 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So biotin, B7. I literally cannot for the life of me think of the specific foods that are high in B7 or biotin. But protein, again, gonna be very beneficial for hair growth. Oh, I remember now. I'm like walnuts, egg yolks.
Oh.
Yeah, so when you see like the hair masks, with like egg yolks and shit, I have no idea, again, like topically if it works, but internally
they're doing something.
So yeah, like walnuts, egg yolks. There are a couple others that are high in B7, but that one is a little bit tougher to get like through your diet, but most people eat eggs.
Yeah.
So get that yolk in.
But that's what I'm saying. Some people only do egg whites.
And I'll tell you why too, is because people are afraid of cholesterol.
Yeah.
Which is in egg yolk.
Yep.
Dietary cholesterol literally does not affect your blood cholesterol one bit. I know.
My dad this. You guys, he is a cholesterol police. If I eat bacon, eggs, I mean, it's a joke. God. Now he's like, that's got a lot of cholesterol.
No, dietary cholesterol doesn't affect your blood cholesterol at all.
Interesting.
So you could just buy B7, like the pill.
Yeah, you could buy like a biotin, like hair, skin, nails. You could do that, or you could just eat some eggs.
Walnuts.
Yeah.
And some walnuts.
Okay, next one. I have heard walnuts are good for this, but I don't know if this is true because a lot of what I hear is not. Brain function.
So, yes, that's keto. People will be like, keto is so good for your brain function because your brain is made up of like mostly fat.
Oh.
Like 70%
know
or
that.
something like that. So it can be very good for like creating, like nerves and this. I mean, I'm not like a neuroscientist or anything, but it can be helpful with that. But carbohydrates are also good brain energy too. So fats, yes, will be good for the brain, but then also, whole grains, carbohydrates, very good for brain function. Because if you think when you're not eating carbohydrates, you're probably like tired and unfocused. So having that like carbohydrate and then some sort of like protein and fat to like maintain that energy, gold standard.
Match made in standard. Okay.
Phyllis told me that blueberries are good for brain function. Is that true?
I actually think it is.
Good.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And a lot of that, I will say, probably has to do with antioxidants.
Yeah.
And like, antioxidants are so good for so many things, but blueberries are really high in antioxidants. So that is probably the reason for that. But
gosh,
I can't say for certain. That's just like my professional logic.
Gosh.
Okay, what about skin elasticity?
Okay, so collagen, truthfully, is helpful for that as long as you're taking the vitamin C and water.
Okay.
Literally water. Okay, so many things actually. And protein, just like having protein, which collagen is a protein.
That's
like
what I was going to ask. Like, can you get collagen from anything other than collagen powder?
You can. I mean, like it's in protein. It's like a muscle tissue is what collagen is.
Okay.
It's or like a muscle fiber basically. So you can get it from other sources of protein, but like when we are in, inpatient, for example, so people in the hospital, we do nutrition focused physical exams. So you will go and you'll like pinch someone's skin, and if like their skin stays up, they're dehydrated.
Right.
But if it, like if it snaps back down, you're hydrated. So water is a part of that. Protein is a part of that. Collagen can be additionally beneficial as long as you're taking vitamin C.
I know. I had it this morning and I had no vitamin. Like that was my breakfast with my collagen.
You'll still absorb some of it, no doubt.
Okay, good.
But
Are you
just
going
not
to
as
start
much.
taking the vitamin C then?
Well, so when she told me this, I got clementines and I would eat like two
Yes,
clementines in the
girl.
morning, and then because my collagen is like almost like collagen protein powder, so it's not like just water. It had like calories and it makes me feel full, but I was really trying to get the vitamin C with it, but I fell off the wagon there a little bit.
That's fine. Okay, I feel like I need to derail now for a minute.
Okay.
But with collagen in the morning, or like people drink like a Premier Protein in the morning.
Me, literally every day.
Which is great. I actually recommend that to a lot of people, but I always recommend to add like a piece of fruit or something, so you're getting the carbohydrate again for the energy, but the protein maintains that. And for any diabetics out there, or just honestly anyone, we all have blood sugar, that we have to maintain, but like a carbohydrate will spike your blood sugar, for example. But if you add like a protein or a fat, it will go at a slower rate. So that's why you maintain that energy. So it kind of like, so fats and protein digest a lot slower than carbohydrates. So it kind of like takes it along for the ride if you pair things up. So
an apple a day, clementine.
Apple, clementine, yogurt, whatever.
You have yogurt
I
a
do.
lot.
I always do like yogurt with granola and then sometimes a cheese stick because I just need a little extra.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to have an apple tomorrow. Yeah. Probably yogurt too.
Yeah.
But
See, there you go.
Yeah,
or like
so am.
frozen berries and yogurt. It's like a treat. So good.
Yeah. So good.
Okay. 2 more. Digestion.
I'm going to say water again.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings in also when we talk about like fats and those fat soluble vitamins, right? So if you don't have fats in your diet, you're not digesting vitamin A, D, E, and K. So carbohydrates will cause your digestion to move a lot quicker.
Okay.
Protein and fat will slow it down a little bit and give you some time to digest, absorb those nutrients. But fiber is going to overall help your digestion. And pears, very high in fiber. So our
Gotta have another
little
one.
app here.
I literally don't know anything. Like, I would never think pears have fiber in them.
I know. Yeah, pears, berries, beans. We all know that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so water, fiber, and then honestly just a balanced diet overall is going to help keep you super regular.
Yeah.
I talk to people all day about going to the bathroom. So I'm like, yeah, super comfortable with it. But it takes a lot of aspects because your digestion is your entire gastrointestinal.
Okay, so last one, which is a fun one. Well, they're all fun, but energy. Energy and pre-workout.
Oh, yes. That was so Minnesotan of me. Okay, so I feel like I talked to a lot of people about this as well, but some sort of like carbohydrate and protein. So it could be toast and peanut butter, banana and peanut butter. Never, though, exercise on an empty stomach.
Really?
Yeah, well, you're not using anything. You have no energy to go off of. I specifically think of people that exercise right away in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some sort of like protein, carbohydrate, again, is going to give you that energy right away. And then that protein will kind of maintain it. And then after the workout, same deal. So if you're like strength training, for example, you want to do afterwards, obviously some sort of protein like within 30 minutes, but adding a carbohydrate to replenish your glycogen stores, basically. But if you're doing like running, which is not something that I do at all, I know people do it, then you'll want to focus more on replacing your carbohydrates with less protein. So strength training, afterwards, more protein, still have carbohydrates, but less. Some sort of cardiovascular exercise, more carbohydrates, less protein. But before, a mix of protein and carbohydrate, I always go to like banana and peanut butter or toast and peanut
that's
butter.
what I think of.
Because it's like the easiest thing, honestly, to like stomach in the morning sometimes. But that wouldn't recommend like a pre-workout energy drink so much.
Really?
Oh, those are just full of crazy ingredients, and they will have like proprietary blends. And you don't. So if you see proprietary blend, it means it will show you the ingredients, but it doesn't say how much.
Okay.
So you don't even know how much of the active ingredients are in it. But like I will have a coffee before I exercise. Like that. I will have like a coffee, a banana, and peanut butter.
Okay, so is my Celsius an issue?
I was just going to ask that.
Tell me.
No.
I would
Really?
have to, energy drinks in general, you just have to be careful of like the added sugar, and a lot of them will actually say 0 sugar.
Yes.
But they'll have like fake sugar in it basically, or artificial sweetener like sucralose is something you can look for on the label. Anything that ends in ose is a sugar. So like glucose is what, like carbohydrates break down to glucose. Lactose is the sugar in milk.
Oh my gosh.
The dots are all connected.
Yes.
So if you look on your label and it's like sucralose, I cannot think of any other ones right now, but
Any of the oses.
Any of the oses or sugar alcohol.
Yeah.
Sugar alcohol is
pretty
another
clear,
one.
but
That makes
Yeah.
me so sad.
And those, they're fine. You just don't digest them really well. So they can cause a lot of like stomach discomfort, bloating.
so probably not something you should have every day. Because I do
Right.
know people who like literally have an energy drink every day.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I'm trying to think if there are any that I would like recommend. I can't off the top of my head just because I don't drink much of them. But
It's
like,
just, it's hard for because coffee
Yeah.
is a taste that like you either love it or you don't. Like I do know quite a few people who don't love coffee.
green tea is another good option.
Yeah.
And you can like literally mix that in with anything. Like you can mix green tea in if you want to have like a smoothie in the morning.
So true.
That's yeah.
Wow,
know.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would say if anything, whether it's energy drinks or any food ever, just like look at the label.
Okay.
See what the added sugars are. Make your best judgment call. If there's added sugar in it, maybe just make a different choice later on. If you need to have, because I will, even with alcohol, with my patients, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking coffee. I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking beer. I'm not going to tell you to stop eating cheesecake.
Right.
You just have to learn how to fit it in.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Which
So
by-
same thing with your energy drinks.
Yeah.
If you got to fit it in, you got to fit it in. Just like adjust
somewhere
where
else.
needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are drinking fit wine tonight.
Yes.
Per your
Fit
recommendation,
wine.
Yes.
which is so good. We'll
so
post it
good.
because it's actually tastes good. Like it's not.
Oh yeah.
And it's, what'd you say, low in sugar?
It's lower in added sugar.
Okay,
Yeah,
amazing.
lower in added sugar, and it's a little bit. I'm speaking like I'm a wine like aficionado.
Yeah.
But I do love my wine. I won't
Yeah.
lie. But it's like lighter for red wine.
It's
and
really
they have
good.
all
It is.
sorts of like white wines and red wines and whatever. But
Kind
You
of
just
so good.
poured the Sauvignon Blanc in that, right? It's Fit Vine?
Yeah,
Sauvignon Blanc?
the fit
yeah.
vine is
Cool.
what you guys have. Yes,
I'm excited to try
We
that
already
wine.
drank the whole bottle, so
yeah,
oh,
so good.
So fun.
Totally recommend.
All right, Lex, you
You're
killed
amazing.
it,
You're great.
as we knew you would. Like we
Totally.
had been just saving you for this time of year. We know everyone's getting ready for a new year, maybe get some new inspiration and start
Yeah.
off on a healthy note. But tell everybody where they can find you, how
Yes.
that they can connect, follow along.
Yes. Well, I am not one of those people that like posts all nutrition stuff on the Instagram. Maybe I should now.
You
though.
should.
You should.
I should.
You should get
yeah.
a page.
I was
going.
just going to say
I
that.
will.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as soon as that happens, I'll let you know. But my personal Instagram is just Alexis Allen 6. Easy. If you're interested in the actual program that I work with at Sanford, and you have, I'll list off the, BMI over 30, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, type 2 diabetes, cancer, metabolic syndrome, have a conversation with your primary care provider about lifestyle medicine. They can place a referral. If you're a Sanford Health Plan member, it's free of charge. So have that conversation with your provider. But otherwise, you can email me.
We'll link it.
You can link my email. I love helping people out with these questions. So I am so open for, with a grain of salt, anyone to shoot me an email asking questions about nutrition, because I do love to help people with it. So email, Instagram,
Yeah.
talk to your provider. I'm through Sanford, and I feel like most people are in this area. So that's where you can find
Where
me.
you can find you.
Yeah.
Yay! Well, we'll link it all and make it super easy for people. But thank you again.
Thank you for
are
having me.
Cheers to good
Cheers
health.
with our Fit Wine at 5.